Hey, what's up, everyone? It's TJ. Real quick, before Peter and I get started, if you would do me a huge solid and hit that subscribe button, we are climbing and climbing and climbing, and we want you to be a true friend of the podcast and help us boost our content to other wrestling fans so that we can all get together and talk about how not fake wrestling is. All right, thanks.
I like that shirt, buddy.
I got it. I think I got it the same night I got COVID and CM Punk relinquished his title.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds about right.
So the shirt was the best part of the night.
That's the real cause for COVID. CM Punk.
Oh, son of a bitch. Oh, buddy. You know, we got a
CM
lot to
Punk's
talk
the
about.
CM stands for coronavirus meningitis.
Coronavirus mangina punk.
There you go. Hello everybody. Welcome to the House Fake Podcast. It's me, TJ, here with Miggy. Except reverse. That's TJ. I'm Miggy, and
Yeah.
it's been a little bit since your
You
boys
gotta sing
have
it.
convened.
It's been a while since I've been. Yeah, dude.
Are Stains still together?
I don't know. They might just be a stain.
Yeah, staying on the grip of music.
Can I we're gonna talk about All In and Saturday Night's main event and maybe Evolution. I don't know. I feel like we'd talk about Evolution more than WWE is.
Yeah,
Um I just got to give a shout out to Dream Slam because this is the first episode we've done since the Grand Slam anniversary
dude,
show.
I have to say that show looks so sick. I'm so upset I missed it, and you killed it on commentary, buddy.
Oh, thanks, dude. I was definitely like listening back to a couple of the matches, like kind of not critiquing myself, but trying to take mental notes on what to do better next time because I definitely could identify some things. But
I
dude, it was a
also
ton of fun.
I thought of the perfect gimmick for Mike Wexler.
What? Retired?
He could be Mike Wexler the Sexler, and like
Oh
come out like
God.
a Playboy in like full Hugh Hefner style.
With a
I'm just
robe and
throwing it
shit.
out there.
The Sexler Wexler.
Yeah.
And he pulls the microphone out from his pants.
Um, in other news, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and I haven't even told this to TJ yet. An official podcast invitation was sent out to a former member of the FBI, the full-blooded Italians, Johnny
Mm.
the Bull Stamboli, um, former wrestler in WWE, WCW, IZW, wrestled the likes of Terry Funk, wrestled the likes of Dustin Rhodes. He was in TNA too for a bit. Um, Full invitation has been sent out to that man to come and join the podcast. I reached out to my friend who is a friend of his, so we'll see what happens. And maybe
I'm
he becomes a
stoked.
friend of the podcast. So you'll be updated
That'll be
there,
good.
everybody.
Well,
But let's talk. This is a big weekend in wrestling, buddy, and semi
huge.
decent episode of AEW tonight, coming off of a fairly decent episode of NXT last night and a terrible episode of Monday Night Raw the night before.
Somewhat decent is a perfect way to describe Dynamite tonight because I was kind of
Yeah,
just like, ugh.
yeah,
But like we said last episode we did, which feels like eons ago, we're ready for this fucking pay per view. We just want it to happen already.
yeah. And I'm excited. Both of us are going to be a little busy on Saturday night, but don't worry, your boy will still be coming with those quick results, and I will be streaming it from my phone using that $10 off coupon you get if you purchase it on Amazon Prime.
Oh yeah. Oh yes. So it's safe to say that you're more excited for All In than Saturday night's main
I
event.
am so much more excited for All In that I think that we got to save that for our main event and discuss this Saturday night's main event show.
Let's do it.
Um, yeah, because honestly, buddy, You know what? And Busted Open made a huge point the other day when I was listening. We are legitimately by the time Saturday night comes around, we are 3 weeks away from the first ever 2 night SummerSlam, and there's not a single match announced for SummerSlam.
It's in 3 weeks.
It's in 3 weeks. Uh the first and second of August.
Yeah.
And they just announced the tickets just went on sale for the crazy Survivor Series in San Diego also. But honestly, all of these matches taking place on Saturday night's main event, and even the matches on Evolution, I mean, I they could possibly lead into SummerSlam.
SummerSlam. You think
But
Goldberg comes back for SummerSlam?
well, they're advertising it as Goldberg's last match, and I know he wanted to retire in Atlanta. I mean, he played for
Falcons.
the the Falcons. But at the same time, it's like Goldberg is such a money draw, and this show in New York is not sold out. Um, and people will pay more, and I hate to say it, but people will pay a lot more money for Goldberg as the champion than they would as Gunther as the champion. But I do not want to see. We just got the title back on Gunther. That man is a champion. There is nothing. That man should be a champion longer than Roman Reigns, longer than Hulk Hogan, longer than anybody. Because seeing that man without a championship on his waist does not seem right. That is
That's true.
his. He is arguably outside of Chad Gable the best technical wrestler on Monday Night Raw.
Well, and he's got such a he reminds me a lot of Randy Orton in the sense that he's not over the top with anything. He's not going to do any ridiculous, unbelievable things. His stories are always about competition
Uh huh.
and trying to prove that he's the champion that like literally when he was his whole thing with Jey Uso was how Jey Uso could never like beat him or only did the one or two times out of all their matches together, and that Jay was a big joke, and the Gunther was serious, and he was gonna that's what a champion's all about, yada yada. Um, I'm not gonna compare Gunther to the Nature Boy Ric Flair, but seeing Gunther without a title is like seeing Ric Flair without a title. It just doesn't make any
Yeah,
sense.
it doesn't. And in I if WWE really is trying to give more of a sports feel to professional wrestling and get out of the entertainment part of it, which they shouldn't because that's completely stupid. But it looks like that's what they're going because WWE has not been entertaining at all this year, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Um, then I just think that Gunther is the right man for the job. He reminds me of as somebody. I mean, now I don't follow UFC as much as I used to. Um, but he is a champion. I mean, he should be an unbeatable champion, somebody that you think is never going to lose, much like John Jones, a Ronda Rousey, a George St. Pierre, Anderson Silva, guys that basically were just so good that nobody could compete against them
Yeah, it's almost like Gunther's the Charlotte Flair of the women's division, or
easily.
at least the Charlotte Flair from 10 years ago.
Yeah, so then take the championship off him and put him in a tag team that makes absolutely no sense. Because that's what they did with Charlotte Flair. And watch that's who's gonna win the tag team championships on at Evolution. So stupid story.
Well, let me
Um,
ask you this real quick about Gunther and Goldberg because I remember saying on the last show that Gunther needs to squash Goldberg and Goldberg
mhm.
needs to do the honors in a really big way. Kevin Nash, I don't know if it was a tweet, I don't know what it was, but Kevin Nash
He's
said the
smashing
opposite of
everybody on
me.
Twitter. He what?
Kevin Nash said the opposite of me. He thinks that Goldberg should squash Gunther the same way that he did Brock Lesnar. And I don't know how I feel about that.
But where do you go after it? I mean, I don't know. I don't honestly, even no matter who wins, I don't know where they go after it.
Well, and if it's really Goldberg's last match, why would they, especially after the whole John Cena's going to take the title and retire, why would you put your other title on Goldberg in his last match?
Yeah. And
But I can see him doing it.
I could see them doing it too. But then, and then do you run it back at SummerSlam? Is
You
that one
have
of the
to.
main events of SummerSlam? Because
You
I
have to
honestly,
because Goldberg can't, he's not going to come back every week. He's not going to have more than, he's not going to have a match on Raw or something like that. So I think you have to. If you take it off of Gunther and put it on Goldberg, Gunther has to win it back in 3 weeks.
yeah.
And maybe that's why
And,
they haven't announced any matches yet because they already know what it's going to be. But they would spoil the ending of Saturday night's main event if they announced Gunther Goldberg night one or night two of SummerSlam.
but you see, I just don't think there's any. I don't know. I don't think outside of Atlanta, I don't think people care about Goldberg as much as WWE thinks they care about Goldberg.
I think you're right.
Um, and and real WWE fans are going to feel a lot of fatigue on Saturday in general, especially in that area, because what we haven't mentioned, I mean, we know Evolution's going on that weekend on Sunday, but we
Right.
haven't even really talked about the fact that NXT's pay-per-view is the morning in Atlanta on that Saturday. And nine out of 10 people are going to go to that are going to NXT are gonna go to Saturday night's main event.
Yeah.
That's a full day of wrestling and matches that, and honestly, I'm not even as much as I love NXT, I don't even know if the Great American Bash is worth talking about outside of Ricky Saints and Ethan Page.
And you know what? That reminds me of Rampage from 2021. So, like, you're going to
Yeah,
make a whole pay per view out of it. I'm sorry, but I think WWE, I don't want to say they went overboard, but the programming is just so fucking much, dude.
yeah,
And I mean, if you could watch Evolve and see WWE ID, you could watch LFG and see up and comers, you can watch NXT. That's three little mini things worth of content. Whereas when you and I were growing up, it was Raw and SmackDown, maybe Heat and Velocity.
yeah. And I know if you're listening to this for the first time, this is going to sound like we're WWE, AEW, we're AEW tribalists. But normally, last year you look at any of our episodes and we were saying the complete opposite about WWE. And it's crazy just the complete
Look at this
turn.
wall. There's no
Yeah.
AEW anything on that wall.
Well, that's not true. Ric Flair, I think, works for AEW still.
Oh, really?
um,
Oh, okay.
I think so. But yeah, I don't know. And you look at the other matches on this card. You have Seth Rollins and LA Knight. It will be an entertaining match, but Seth Rollins wins that one. Um, Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton, I honestly think can go either way. But I just love that board at work shirt that I wanted to see Drew McIntyre beat Randy Orton.
Do you think Randy Orton and Drew even does it even matter who wins?
No, because what are they going to do after it?
Well, that's the thing. Like, no one was asking for Drew and Randy. It kind of just feels like this is just a random
Just
ass
thrown
match.
together completely. A lot
And
of WWE lately feels completely thrown together.
well, and I last show too. I keep referencing the last show, but I said that Saturday night's main event is a glorified house show.
Yeah,
It is a house show with Goldberg. That is what it is.
and yeah, and I really feel the NXT card is pretty much the same way. I mean, the NXT card for an NXT pay per view taking place in the middle of the day has a contract signing for a TNA championship.
Yeah, Vince McMahon is
Um,
fucking
you
hating
know,
life right now.
and then you have Ricky Saints and Ethan Page, which I think is going to be great. Sol Ruka and Izzy Dame are going to be great. But other than that, there's not really anything there. on Saturday, I should say, there's nothing I am excited about in regards to WWE. I am very excited for Sunday.
Let's talk about it, buddy.
Because you look at the evolution, the fact that everybody's first crush, uh, um, Trish Stratus is going to be on the card
Got a title
is
match.
awesome. You got every everybody is going to be in that women's battle royale.
Right.
You have half of NXT's women's roster. You got Natalia, you got Stephanie Vacuer, you got Julia, you got Nikki Bella, and I will say this: if WWE wants to take anything away from this weekend, um, it's one, the nod that Trish Stratus gives to Tiffany Stratton when Tiffany Stratton beats Trish Stratus for the championship. And they shared a video of the best of AJ Lee. You want to get everybody talking about WWE this weekend. If you're trying to compete with AEW, you
They'll
bring
win.
AJ Lee back and on Sunday, and everybody forgets what happens in AEW on Saturday.
That's legit. No one will talk about All In the next day
Nope,
if you bring AJ Lee back.
nope. AJ Lee, and imagine this. Imagine now Soraya Page, she's here on Saturday, doing a signing for her book tour. But imagine AJ Lee, imagine Paige coming out in that battle royale, and then right behind her is AJ Lee, and then they're the final two people. They run back all of their history,
Damn.
and at one side of the ring, I just picturing at one side of the ring, you have Nikki Bella, AJ Lee, and Paige staring down people like Stephanie Vacuer, Julia. And you can even throw Natalia and on the other Natalia and Nia Jax on the other side of the ring because they've been around just as long. And just staring down the NXT girls, the future, the past, it writes itself. I am
I
not
like it.
excited for this stupid women's fatal four way tag match thing because Alexa Bliss and Charlotte Flair should not be a tag team. Um, and I will tell you that I do think the best match of the night is going to be Becky Bailey and the Bird Lady. I can care less
Oh,
even about
really?
Io and Rhea because I feel like they put the championship back on Rhea.
Well, Io and Rhea is going to be a great match just because they're great wrestlers. But like you said, the triple threat though, dude. There's stakes in that triple threat match. Lyra and Becky have been knocking it out of the park.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like since they're probably the only story since WrestleMania that I don't want to say that because like I care about John Cena, but it's mostly I
It's
care because I
different.
want to see what happens, right?
Yeah.
Um, but I don't care about Seth the same way that I have Lyra and Becky. What do you
No.
think about this Jordan Grace JC Jane match?
It will be good, but JC Jane still well, I think JC Jane still wins because I think they're gonna try to set up Jordan Grace and um Blake Monroe.
And
I wanted to say Mariah May.
what about this no holds barred Naomi and
I don't care.
Jade? Dude, I
I am done with Naomi and Jade. Naomi should be doing better things. She has the women's money in the bank. And Jade Cargill.
look, all respect to the talent because, like I said a million times, I can't do anything that these athletes do.
Yeah.
But I would love to see Jade put on an insane singles match before you throw her in a no holds barred match by herself.
Yeah.
Especially with Naomi, who I know has been around for forever and has been there, done that, but she's not like a hardcore wrestler. So, I know that doesn't necessarily even matter nowadays, but it's just I feel like the margin for error is exaggerated in this
Yeah.
match.
But I don't know. Well, a lot could happen still. There's before Sunday, there's still Saturday night's main event. There's still SmackDown where Jelly Roll's appearing. I don't know, maybe Jelly Roll becomes does something because I'm pretty sure they're going to put him in SummerSlam in some capacity.
One of the
But
best
what there
choke
is
slams in the game.
right. But there is no episodes of AEW left until All In. And this
No.
All In card, as much as I am so happy I got to be a Double or Nothing, I consider Double or Nothing the WrestleMania of AEW. This card is just way too good for there to be a bad show. The men's Casino Gauntlet match alone, starting out with Mark Briscoe and MJF, and then the whole storyline that MJF has with Mystico, and we know Mystico's probably going to be number three. Um, he showed up.
I'm
He's showing up places just to beat Mystico up. So I'm excited to see what happens there. We found out tonight that the women's Gauntlet match is going to start. We knew it was starting off with Stat, but now it's going to start off with Stat and Megan Bain. That's
nice.
going to
There you
be
go.
amazing. Um,
Are there
but I'll tell you,
so there's the casino matches normally have a bunch of people, so we're getting more than three per match, right?
it's a gauntlet match, so it goes until whoever gets the first pinfall.
Okay.
So every couple of minutes they send out another person.
Okay.
So we don't know. It goes until 21. But I don't know if any of them have gone until 21, and I don't think there'll be any exception here.
I'm looking at so I'm on AEW's website and they have all 8 matches here.
Mhm.
The graphics
Which is a
for each of them.
small. Well, I guess they normally do 10 matches because they throw two on the buy-in. I do know
Right.
that Big Boom AJ, Kota Ibushi,
I was gonna say, dude,
and Paul White are the Paulden lovers or something like that. Are taking on the Callis family. I don't know what the other buy-in match is going to be. Um, so it should be an average 10-hour AEW pay-per-view, but
well, I'm just looking, with the names on here, and it hear me out. It doesn't seem all in because the amount of big names that, are in the wrestling world, um, it I, I mean this in the best way possible. Everything that I'm trying to say right now is a good thing, not a bad thing. So I don't want it to come off any type of way. This seems like a very focused card. Like they've trimmed the fat.
their main event players are all in this card,
The main event players are all on this card, but
with the exception
outside
of like
of
the Samoa Joe and
well, right, but they're going to be involved just
mhm,
because of the so
the just because of the stipulations of the main event.
literally the only person or people on this card who I am kind of like I just don't know enough about is Jet Speed.
Well,
Um,
let's talk about that
yeah, go for it.
because I am honestly, after watching Dynamite tonight, I am more excited for this match. Well, I don't know. I'm more excited for this match than I was before. I didn't care about this match, but now I'm very excited because of the possibility of the fact that the Hurt Syndicate got taken out tonight by Jet Speed, which is Kevin Knight and Speedball Mike Bailey, Shoeless Spike Bailey,
Put some shoes
and
on, you freak.
yeah, smells like feet in here. But they what's it called? I don't know. They're really good though. They are going to bring a different aspect to this match because you don't see Christian doing crazy high flying moves. You don't see Bobby Lashley doing high flying moves. But
No.
you'll see Nick Wayne will do some crazy stuff. But Shelton Benjamin can. But you know who else can? And the fact that they took out Bobby Lashley tonight and they really went hard on Bobby Lashley's leg. This is the opportunity. If there was ever an opportunity for them to be like, Bobby Lashley can't wrestle and to bring in Cedric Alexander, this is the time to do it. This is the match to do it because then you don't have you somehow get FTR involved in this match, and this is where you bring back the greatest wrestler of all time, Adam Copeland.
You don't think he
And
helps Hangman at the end?
I don't think he helps Hangman at the end. I want to see FTR get involved in this match, and then I want to see them somehow helping Christian and Nick Wayne, and then that is when Cope comes back, and then because I'm starting to worry if we don't get Christian and Cope soon, I may explode.
It needs to happen. It would be a
Yeah.
crime if this didn't happen in AEW.
Well, yeah, it's gonna happen in AEW. The matter is when, and I need it now. It's like what is that
Well, I'm I'm
from
I'm
Willy
saying they
Wonka?
need
I need it now, Daddy.
they need to do it now because I feel like it's a race against the clock against
Yeah.
the expiration date here.
So come on, Daddy, Daddy Khan, give us
I I
give us Cope and Christian in a main event spot. It doesn't need to be for the title. It needs to be on a pay per view in the main event. These men have earned it, and we need it
Christian and Cope could put on the same kind of match that Dustin and Cody had.
easily, and the story writes
That's the
itself.
kind of match they need to have. It doesn't need to be for a title. They need to have a brother versus brother match. It's the
Exactly. But
only way to do it.
all right, so let's jump to brothers now that you said that.
Mm.
Bucks and Swerve Strickland. You excited for this match? Because I think it's going to be a spot fest, but I honestly don't care who wins.
I'm actually interested in this match because this is one of the few if you're a WWE stan, you're used to, at least in the Vince era. Where did you go? I lost the Zoom screen. There it is.
Oh,
Um,
here I am.
we were used to, growing up, Vince would just throw people together.
Mm-hmm.
Jericho, Chris Masters, and Carlito. Like, those are just the first two that popped in my head. But I know there's a million of them. Swerve and Osprey, I think, is very interesting because you have arguably, if you were to put your chips, if you were to go all in on the future of AEW, I think that has to include Will Ospreay and Swerve Strickland. So them having a
Oh, William Regal and Chijeri. That's another good one that was just thrown together.
dude, that would, if AEW teamed Tajiri and William Regal up, I feel like they would win the tag titles and never lose them. I mean, it would just make sense from a mark perspective. That would be the ultimate thing to do. Um, I think the Young Bucks lose, and I'm interested to see if they actually do that because if they do, I think it signals a new chapter in AEW where
Yeah.
maybe they are technically still the EVPs, behind the scenes, but it's a passing of the torch. The Young Bucks have nothing else to prove. It's not like they're gonna go to another company. I can't imagine them
No,
doing that,
there
especially at their
you're right.
age.
Yeah.
So this I don't know. I see this. I don't know how you tell Swerve and Osprey that neither one of them get a title shot for a year. Like I don't
I just don't know what they would do.
exactly.
Because
That's what I'm saying. Who
Swerve I don't think needs a title shot this year, but it's Osprey for sure does.
well, and the thing too is Swerve might not need it, but if Swerve doesn't get a title shot for a year, then you're kind of cutting his balls off a little bit.
Yeah.
Like he's one of your biggest guys. You should want him to go after the titles if the titles mean anything.
Agreed?
So I am
Um
excited for that match, and I'm usually not super stoked about Young Bucks matches, but I have been proven wrong before. Their match in the cage against Lucha Brothers the night that Danielson came
oh
back
yeah.
and all out.
It's amazing.
Dude, that's one of the best tag matches and cage matches of all time.
Agreed?
Their match with Omega and Hangman at Revolution 2020,
Yeah,
one of the
sorry
best
if you hear
matches
my
of all
dogs
time.
barking.
Oh no, you're good, dude. Yeah, their match at Revolution was, obviously they're good. So
Yeah.
my hopes are
Um
high.
so
But the
I know we're
package, we are low on time. What were you gonna say?
yeah. No, I just was thinking but I want to hear what you have to say. Then we'll jump through these next three because we've talked about them a lot anyway.
I was gonna say real quick that watching Dynamite tonight, the video package that they had for Omega Okada got me really excited for that match.
Well, yeah, I think that is going to be a great match. Even though we've seen it before, I don't think those two guys could do any wrong
No, and
whatsoever.
I hope they don't swing for the fences. I hope they kind of stick to the
Oh,
fundamentals.
they will
Do
though.
the and well, I know they will. I hope they just don't make it look like they are. Because if I'm sitting there watching it and in my head I'm thinking they're trying to outdo everything else they've ever done, to me it'll come off as a viewer. I can imagine that it would come off as like a little disingenuous to me, if that makes any sense.
Yeah,
Like
it makes
I
sense.
don't want them to go out there and impress Meltzer. Like we're not working for
Oh, this
the
is I
Meltzerection.
by the end of Saturday night, we get the notice that this is was given 5 stars.
Just
Um,
five? You don't think nine and a half or
yeah, I don't
and
know.
three quarters?
I don't know.
Let's get to
Um,
these other matches.
Kyle Fletcher and Adam Cole. Kyle Fletcher wins that. We've already talked about Mercedes Moné and Tony Storm. We know Mercedes is going to win. Our girl Tony Storm is going to lose. But the redemption arc of Tony Storm is going to be phenomenal.
I think Tony
Um,
keeps it, bro.
I hope so. I want
There's
to be wrong about that.
there
I
was
do.
no upper hand on Dynamite tonight. Their segment kind of ended abruptly. There was no beatdown. Tony went for it, but
Aye.
Mercedes ducked out of the way. So I don't know.
Yeah. And then we've talked about Hangman and Mox for like months now. You know how I feel about it. I feel like this is going to be Anarchy in the Arena 2.0. I feel like everybody is going to come out. The AEW Avengers are going to show up. I would love it if Sting came out. Cope does not need to come out here because again, he's going to show up in the tag match because the pro wrestling gods are listening to me. This is going to be a full bloody disaster of a match where everybody is hurt, everybody is covered in blood. There's going to be explosions taking place. There'll be thumbtacks, there'll be barbed wire, and there'll be John Moxley retaining the championship just so he can lose it to Darby Allin because that's what needs to happen.
You've been consistent in what you want to happen.
But do I think anybody would be upset if Hangman won? No, but I do think that Darby Allin needs to be the one to end this story. He needs
If
to bring
they
death upon the Death Riders.
if they overbook this and if they bring Sting out, if they bring Danielson out, we already know we're getting the ops. Uh, if you do all that and Hangman loses, I think you're rolling the dice.
I don't think a lot of this happens. I think Hangman loses, and then I think that we see Darby. I think Darby is the last. Darby staring down John Moxley is the last thing that we see on this show.
So you think Darby evens the playing field after the match is over?
After the match is over, I think the last thing that we see is Darby Allin coming in jumping off of the top of Mount Everest and landing in the middle of the ring.
We said it would be cool to have a montage of him like cliff jumping off of Everest and somehow landing.
Yeah,
Right.
but
I dig it.
that's what I think happens. That's
Well,
that's our
and
Saturday night, a little bit of our Sunday, and our
and
Saturday
you
morning.
mentioned how in 3 weeks we have SummerSlam. All Out's coming up pretty soon too, right?
Yeah, but
If
again,
they
I want to reiterate this. The only way WWE I know WWE is trying to do the counter programming to AEW. The only way they get WWE to not talk about AEW, or the only way they get wrestling fans to not talk about AEW this weekend, AJ Lee. That's it. That is the only possible thing they could do to win the weekend.
Well, and as we close this, we'll end with this. If that were to happen, which I don't think I would bet money that it would, because that would be almost not as big as Punk returning, but just the fact that somebody so hurt by the wrestling business would just come back out of nowhere. That's where I'm like, I don't know. If they did that and All In is a great show, nobody loses.
Agreed?
Nobody loses. Wrestling fans win. It's a good
And
summer to
that's
be
what
a wrestling
matters.
fan, and that's what matters. And then Monday comes around, and we watch Raw, and it bores the fuck out of us, and then we
Yep.
forget about the great time we had 2 days before that.
Agreed.
Amazing. All right,
It's gonna
buddy.
be a weekend, buddy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, don't forget to subscribe, like this video. If you made it all the way through, you better fucking like this video. And don't forget to comment. Tell us what match you're most excited for the whole weekend. There's a bajillion and a half shows, so let us know what match you're most excited for, and we'll see you whenever we see you. Later.
Later.